show you how to make an abstract watercolor painting. We're going to start with some basic watercolor techniques, and then we're going to let you go so you can make your own abstract painting.
You will need watercolors, 2 paintbrushes, 1 flat and 1 round, a jar of water, watercolor paper or thick paper, some paper towels, and a rag towel. To practice the basic watercolor techniques, we'll make an 8 rectangle grid by folding a piece of paper in half hamburger style and in half again a second time. And a third time. Open it up and lay it flat, and you'll have 8 rectangles. Flat wash is a smooth, even application of paint. Choose one color, and gently dab your brush in the paint, then sweep your brush back and forth on the paper with a consistent stroke. Do this until you have a solid patch of color. Graded wash, also known as ombre, goes from dark to light. Pick one color and imagine the rectangle in 3 sections. Paint the first part as dark as possible by layering the paint in a flat wash. Dab your brush on the towel to remove some paint, dip in water to remove a little more, and move to the middle. Dab and dip again, and move to the last section, then blend those parts together. Multicolor ombre blend. This time choose 3 colors. Imagining the rectangle in 3 sections, apply a flat wash of the first color. Choose the second color to paint in the middle. Make sure to clean your brush between colors. Then apply the third color and gently blend the areas in between. Dry brush is just like it sounds. Dry your brush off on a towel, dab in the paint, make sure the paint is not too wet. Brush on the paper so you see the strokes and texture. The amount of water will determine the detail of texture, and the less water, the better. Wet on wet is the most fun. Paint the rectangle with clear water so that it's glossy but not too wet. Pick 2 colors, put one on the top, dab, pull, or push the paint with your brush. Put the other color on the bottom. You can even pick the paper up and move it. Blotting creates a pattern by removing paint. Paint a flat wash, and before it dries, take a piece of paper towel and dab the color off. If it doesn't come off, add water with your brush and dab again. Wet on dry line experiment. Create a flat wash in a light color and let it dry, and then we'll come back to it. Blooms are flow marks created when added to a wash, and they are unpredictable. Paint a flat wash, and before it completely dries, use a small round brush and make dots by gently poking the paper. Experiment with the amount of paint and water. Add more water and watch the dots bloom. To complete the wet on dry line experiment, go back to the flat wash you let dry. To make a thin line, apply very little pressure. To make a thick line, press down a bit more on the brush, but not so hard that you smash it. Now that you know these 8 basic techniques, you can experiment and combine them to create your own abstract watercolor painting. You can make different shapes by playing with line, Add a graded wash inside the shape that goes from dark to light. Or add more colors to create a multicolor blend. Maybe you want to dry your brush to change the texture of the paint. Or paint another shape and add more water and see what happens when the water runs into the paint. Or start with clear water and dab in some color with a round brush and watch the paint move. It's also fun to switch brushes and play with blooms. Let the colors flow into each other. Try different line sizes by adjusting the pressure. Push the paint, pull the paint, or dab the paint to remove the color if it's just too much. The trick is to experiment with the amount of paint and especially the amount of water. The magic of a watercolor is in the water. Your abstract painting doesn't have to look like anything you see in the real world. Abstraction is more about forms, lines, colors, and textures. The goal is to play around with the material and the tools, have fun with the process, and see what comes of it.